Hello everyone. So I hope all of you are fine and we are able to connect to all of you and helping you to the cause of clearing this exam. See, the topic that we are going to refer now is one of the most conceptual topic because it's very inclusive. And I found a lot of candidates confused in this topic because of the sheer vastness of the topic. The topic is quite vast, right? It demands a lot of clarity and conceptual understanding and also information, a lot of factual information as well. So the topic that we are going to discuss is the climatic regions. Climatic regions, right? It's mainly from the general studies point of view, although the topic is also mentioned in optionals, but the classification of climates that we discuss in optionals is more empirical. It requires more data collection, a lot of calculations, like the one that is Köppen's classification or Thornthwaite classification, or the classifications that would be more academic exercise. Here what we are going to discuss is more genetic classification, where the emphasis is more on the cause of the climate, right, and the effect on humans and economy. In empirical classifications, we don't follow much about the impact on humans, like it's more of a meteorological classification. That's not required for general studies as such, although it's very important for your optional classes, optional exams, but for general studies, not very important. It's not important. So importance is on, we should emphasize more on the genetic classifications, for the main reason that it plays a significant role we pay attention and we also focus upon its impact on humans. So these climatic zones, there are 11 climatic zones. Those who are following GC Leong also will find these 11 climatic zones, right, from equatorial regions to polar regions, including monsoonal, savanna, desert region, then China type climate, then Mediterranean type, then the steppe type and British type, Laurential type, Siberia type, polar type. Let's see why we have such names and how these climatic zones are characterized. To understand this, I want you to focus here and see this part. Like imagine this surface as a surface of Earth, right? And one of the hemisphere, like suppose the northern hemisphere as a continent. I'm just drawing a diagram. Suppose it's a continent, right? It's a continent, and this is 0 degree, this is 90 degree. So if this is a continent, obviously surrounding the continent would be oceans. So if I presume this line as a continental boundary and the continent is extending from 0 degree, that is equatorial regions, to polar regions, right, polar regions, and this to be a continental boundary, the rest of the region is a water body. The white surface of the board is therefore an oceanic surface. Two things before I start the climatic classifications from equator to poles, and the same thing would be for southern hemisphere as well. Remember two things. One is the direction of the winds, planetary winds or permanent winds. Second is the ocean currents, direction of ocean currents. These two things are very important. So those who are not clear with that, just a brief introduction of the winds. Winds are in this lower latitudes between 30 to 0. The direction of the wind is northeast or it is southeast. Right? The direction of the wind is northeast or southeast. So all across Earth, if I presume this to be a 30-degree belt, 30-degree north, same thing, please apply the same for southern hemisphere as well. So this is the direction of winds, northeast winds. Suppose this is the 60-degree latitude, 60-degree latitude. I know that it's quite difficult for us to expect this curved path as any continent. We generally draw this for the Earth's surface, but right now, just to make it clear, I'm drawing this using this diagram. And the direction of the wind is from west to east. It's called as westerlies. Okay? Pressure difference. And between 90 to 60-degree region, 60-degree north and south, we have these winds called as polar easterlies. The main reference would be with this. So here, because the wind direction is northeast or southeast, westerlies in the mid latitudes, polar easterlies. Next thing that we should be considering in mind is the direction of ocean currents. So, as I said, outside this is ocean. So suppose this is an ocean surface. This is again an ocean surface. Along the eastern part of the continent, in lower latitudes to the mid latitudes, there is this warm ocean current. Right? It's a warm ocean current that draws water from equatorial regions to the subpolar latitudes. Then it goes towards right under the influence of westerlies, like towards west to east, etc. Somewhere here, there are these cold currents from the north, cold ocean currents from the north, called as they flow towards south because of salinity difference. Water moves from low salinity to higher salinity, and here there will be mixing. Right? There is mixing of water, warm water from equator, cold water from poles. Then winds, you can see the direction of the wind. The one that I've drawn with the black is winds, direction of the wind from west to east. So water gets carried from west to east, and because of that same wind effect, it comes towards equator. So it's called as cold current. It's called as a cold current. So warm current lies to the eastern part of the continent because the water is going from equator to poles. Cold water comes from poles to equator. Right? Now let's bring in the entire concept and let us discuss what we are going to, how do we classify this. So I'm removing the direction of the wind, presuming that you know the direction of the wind. Right? We have a separate collection of videos to understand this direction of the wind. So you can always refer to those. Okay. Between this 0 degree latitude to 5 degree latitude north and south. 5 degree latitude north and south. Easiest classification. It is called as equatorial climatic condition. Equatorial climate. Clear? Easy to remember? Okay. Let's see the second latitude. Somewhere between 30-35 degree north and south. So between these two lower latitudes, right? Somewhere between 5 degree latitude to 30-35 degree north and south. I'm just taking 3 divisions. Observe carefully. 1, this is second, and this is third one. 3 parts of the continent, presuming that it stretches from east to west uniformly. So I'm just dividing it into 3 parts. Start from the west. What do we see here is that winds are moving from continents to oceans. These are offshore. What are offshore winds? Winds which move from continents to oceans. Because the direction of the wind is northeast, right? Northeast. So on the western side, you can see winds moving away from the continents. Number one, so they cannot cause rain, right? So no rainfall, no rainfall. And moreover, it's a cold water zone. Can you see the water direction of this current? It comes from polar regions to equatorial regions. Cold water, air in contact to the cold water is also going to be colder, therefore denser, and therefore can subside. Remember, subsiding air masses cannot cause rain. You need to refer to the class for videos for humidity and precipitation to understand this. But just to make you understand this in a brief terms, see, for rainfall to occur, the temperature of air mass must decrease. Clear? Only then the relative humidity can increase, condensation can take place. And for an air mass to decrease temperature, become cooler, it must rise up, because higher we go, cooler we feel. But in this case, air mass is subsiding, it is not going to get cooler. And therefore, there will be thermal expansion. And there will be rather decrease in relative humidity and dryness. So wherever we have cold water zone, it generates cold air masses which are denser, therefore subside, and subsiding air masses lead to dryness. So because of cold water, there is dryness. So this much of concept that I am referring to. So ocean is, water is cold, air mass in contact with that is drier because it subsides. Winds are offshore. Will there be rainfall? No rainfall. So on the western part of the continent, what type of climate is it going to be? Desert climate, arid climatic conditions. I hope we are clear with the reason. Let's jump on to the eastern part, right? Eastern part of the continent. What is happening on the eastern part of the continents? Winds are onshore, right? Northeast winds or southeast winds, onshore. That means winds come from oceans to continents, therefore should cause rainfall. And also we know that there is a shifting of pressure belts. That means sun rays do not remain vertical at equator throughout the year. They move towards Tropic of Cancer, they move towards Tropic of Capricorn. So there will be seasonal shifting of pressure belts and therefore seasonal shifting of direction of winds as well. So what type of climatic conditions will it be towards the eastern side of the continent? Yes, monsoonal type. Tropical areas, eastern part of the continents, Southeast Asia, southern part of China, India, Mexico, Florida, Madagascar, right? These are regions with the monsoonal type of climate. So rainfall is taking place to the eastern part of the continent. Western side is drier, extreme conditions, arid conditions. So here it is wet, here it is arid. What will be in between? Semi-arid. Because due to continentality, because distance from the sea, rainfall will not take place in this region. It will be semi-arid condition. Rainfall will be much lesser than monsoon, but slightly higher than desert. Because winds will carry some rainfall which will still be there in this part, called as Sudan type or Savannah type, right? Savannah type, Sudan type. Right? Got it? So this is in lower latitudes in tropical areas. Try to understand and relate to the concepts. Let's move to the mid latitudes, right? Let us move to the mid latitudinal regions. little north of it. Again, 3 divisions, 1, 2, and this is third one. Okay, this time I'm starting from the eastern side of the continent. That is on the western side of oceans. Now, just when I said, when we are discussing monsoonal type, we said that there's a shifting of pressure belts. That means air masses shift to the north. That is, winds shift to the north and south in accordance to apparent shifting of sun rays. So, if during summers they shift towards north, it also means northeast trade winds will reach here, because there is a shifting of pressure belts. So northeast winds which were there at 30 degree will shift little north of it. So this means this region should have rainfall during summers. In fact, heavy rainfall during summers because of northeast winds. Alright. During winters, they will come back. So does that mean the rainfall will stop during winters? No. Because observe this warm current. We just now said that on the eastern part of continents there is a presence of warm current. Warm current means air masses are warm, moist, lighter, therefore rise up. As an air mass rises up, there is decrease in temperature. It gets cooler, although it's adiabatic cooling. It's a bit technical, so we'll see it in different lectures, different discussions. So there is a cooling. Cooling increases relative humidity more than 100% and can cause rainfall. So warm ocean currents always induces rainfall, exactly opposite to what happens in the cold current. So if the rainfall is, there is warm ocean current, there is a higher rainfall. So this means during summers, rainfall is due to the shifting of pressure belts due to northeast winds. But during rest of the season, rest of the year, it's because of warm ocean current that rainfall is throughout the year. So rainfall throughout the year with summer maximum, winters are cooler, summers can become warm. Typical condition of Gulf of Mexico, conditions of Gulf of Mexico or China type. You can also remember this by the China type of climatic condition. Mid latitudes, which part of the continent? Eastern part of the continent. Now, can we relate to the reasons? Can we relate to the reasons why we have summer maximum and rainfall throughout the year? Clear? Let's come back to the western part of it. Western part of the continents in the same latitudes. Then we'll go to the central region now. In the western part, some time back we discussed that pressure belts go towards north and south, and which winds blow in this latitude? Westerlies. So if pressure belts shift towards south, westerlies also shift little southwards. And when do pressure belts shift towards south? Winters. Westerlies will also shift towards south during winters. Clear? During winters. So that means western part of the continent in mid latitudes should get winter rainfall. Whereas summers remain dry. Why summers are drier is because pressure belts shift to the north, right? And westerlies will blow north of this latitude. So we don't have westerlies in this latitude during summers. It's during winters, because of shifting of pressure belts, westerlies reach here and cause rainfall. This is taking place in Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean region. So what type of climatic condition is this? Mediterranean type of climatic condition. Summers remain dry, winters receive rainfall. I hope it is clear. Shifting of westerlies will cause rainfall in the Mediterranean coast. So we use the term Mediterranean climatic condition here. Let's reach to the center. So there's a rainfall to the eastern side of the continent. There's a rainfall to the western side of the continent, although during winters only. But what about the central region of the continent? From both ends, be it the western side, westerlies, or be it the eastern side, northeasts, it's very little amount of moisture reaches to the inner part of continent. So continentality is the reason for dryness. So here we have wet climatic conditions. Here we have moist wet climatic conditions. But because it is interiorly located, it is going to be semi-arid again. Continentality, distance from the sea, if it is higher, then it's going to be drier region because moisture does not reach to the inner part of the continent so easily. So now this semi-arid region is called as steppe region. Steppe type of climatic conditions. The word steppe comes from the steppe region of Europe. We know they are grassland regions. Savannah, grassland regions. Now why is this grassland? Why are these two grassland regions? Remember, for a luxuriant forest to survive, for bigger trees to survive, annual rainfall should be at least 60 centimeters. At least 60 centimeters. If the annual rainfall is less than 60 centimeters, 60. Remember, if the annual rainfall is less than 60 centimeters, trees cannot survive. It is the grasslands which will develop. If it's less than 40, less than 20, then it's xerophytic, then it's desert. But if it ranges between 40 to 60 centimeters a year, which is there in these cases, steppe and Sudan, both are grasslands. This is in tropical belt, tropical grasslands. This is in temperate belt, temperate grasslands. Be it in North America, be it prairies, be it pampas of Argentina, be it velds of South Africa, be it downs of Australia, or be it the steppes of Europe. All are semi-arid regions. But when we look at savanna, it's a dry region. Now it appears to be very dry. Savannah grasslands, there are a lot of so many documentaries shot in Discoveries and National Geographics showing the life of savannah. You see tall grasses, dryness, less nutrition. But in steppe, it's full of nutrition. Grasses are full of nutrition. They're excellent pasture lands. The only difference is that of temperature. This is tropical, right? Please try to understand. This is tropical. So therefore, rate of evaporation is going to be higher. If evaporation is higher, this means dryness. It's temperate. The rate of evaporation is lesser. It's going to be wetter. So the rainfall, the water content will be relatively higher in steppes. So therefore, they become full of nutrition. Steppes. Clear? So can you relate to this climatic conditions now? Let's go towards poles again. Go closer to poles. And let's classify this. 3 regions. 1, 2, 3. Subpolar latitudes. Right? It's a very, very interesting condition here. Subpolar latitudes. You know, the current that is going towards east here under the influence of westerlies shows some effect in this latitude, 60-degree latitude, but on the western part of continent. And what is that effect? The temperature of this latitude is very, very low. It's closer to the polar areas. Harsh winters, cool summer sometimes. By the latitude I'm referring to. But because these ocean currents bring warm water in the region, right? Warm water in the region that is on the western part, conditions get modified. conditions get, moderate rather. Plus, it's a warm water, can cause rainfall, right? Warm water can cause rainfall, leading to, because of the warm ocean currents, leading to warm air, which is lighter, containing moisture, rises up, causes rainfall. So this type of climatic condition is called as British type of climatic condition. British type, northwestern part of Europe, British type. So you can retain by, remember by Britain, so British type. What is it? Moderate winter, moderate summers, sometimes cold winters. It would have been harsh winters, but they remain cold winters because of moderation caused by warm ocean currents. More importantly, well distributed rainfall throughout the year. And they say that London ki barish ka koi bharosa nahi. It can come time it causes rainfall anytime. That's because warm ocean currents keep on causing rainfall in the western part of Europe, that is Denmark, Norway, France, UK, right? British type of climatic conditions. Which part of continent? Western part. What is the latitude? Subpolar regions. Clear? Move east of Britain, move east of Europe, you find the conditions are getting harsher because of continentality. Right? Continentality means distant from the sea. And what is the harshness? Temperature will get extremely cold. Right? Because this warming effect cannot reach to this part. Moderation effect cannot reach to the inner part of the continent. Rainfall will also not reach to the inner part of continent. Harsh conditions, dryness, plus very cold conditions, especially cold winters. In fact, we call it as harsh winters. Type of climatic condition is Siberian type. Right? Then next, towards eastern part, Laurentia type. Laurentia. The word Laurentia is from the Laurential Plateau of Canada, eastern part of Canada. See, observe what is the condition, the one that warm ocean current. The effect of warm ocean current can be seen up till Laurentia region, this eastern part of continent and subpolar latitudes. And what would it be? Moderation of temperature, frequent rainfall in the region, and most importantly, it will be full of fog. But one important factor, one important effect that you can all relate to. Can you see this cold current coming from the polar areas? I've referred to this earlier. They move towards lower latitudes. They move towards equatorial latitudes because of salinity difference. Salinity is less here in polar areas. It's higher in lower latitudes. So water moves from low salinity to higher salinity. So the cold water and warm water mixes leads to the normalization of temperature. Normalization of temperature increases the growth of planktons, which act as feeding ground for fishes. So Laurential region, the coast of Laurential region is also known for as fishing grounds. It's full of fog because two extreme warm currents and cold currents meet. So there will be fog-like phenomena, condensation, etc. will take place. Apart from that, it's known for fishing. I hope I am clear with this concept of fishing. Why fishing grounds develop where two currents meet. Which part of continent is this? Eastern part of continents. What is the latitude? Subpolar latitudes. Examples, Newfoundland. Examples, northern island of Japan, Hokkaido. Examples, Kamchatka region of Russia. Clear? Laurential type. And all this latitude will also have this coniferous forest, well known for lumbering activities, etc. And the last, when we reach here, no further divisions here in continents. This is referred as polar climatic conditions. Extremely cold, summers are absent. Summers are absent, winters are very harsh. Temperature is always less than freezing point. It can be like -80 and -90 as well. Nova Zelmia in 2019 and 2020 winters recorded temperature of minus 85 degrees Celsius. It's a small island in Arctic Ocean, Nova Zelmia. Polar climatic conditions. Equatorial climatic conditions, no winters. Polar climatic conditions, no summers. Can you relate to this now? So how many regions? 11 climatic zones, equator and polar, easily understandable. We'll move this. Tropical areas divide in 3. Western part is desert. I've already explained why. Semi-arid, Sudan, higher rainfall, monsoon regions. Then you have middle latitudes, western side Mediterranean. Why Mediterranean gets rainfall during winters? Westerly effect increases during winters. Steppe, due to inward location, steppe is semi-arid, savanna is semi-arid due to continentalities, due to interior locations. But why one is having nutrition and another is nutritionless? That one should be clear. Then we have China type, rainfall throughout the year because of the monsoonal, because of this warm ocean currents, plus summer maximum because northeast winds shift to the north. Then we have British type throughout the year, Siberia, dryness, Laurentia, moderate summers, harsh winters, rainfall, moderate rainfall throughout the year, but plus fishing regions. And then we have polar climatic conditions. These are climatic divisions. And now you can understand climatic regions one by one and understand their characteristics. Clear? So hope to see you in other parts, right?